All right, let's jump into the UFC prelims for this lad versus Dumont. First fight on the prelims, we have Estela Nunez against Ariane Camalosi, or Carnelosi. Sorry, Carnelosi. Uh, Carnelosi is a minus 164 favorite. Nunez is a plus 134 underdog. Nunez is 7-1. She has 2 wins by knockout. She's going to have a 2-inch reach advantage in this fight. She won her last fight by unanimous decision. She's 4-1 over her last 5. She has a good jab, good Muay Thai, real quick, has good speed. Doesn't have great power, but does have good. Doesn't have like knockout power, but has good speed, good at getting in and out. Carnelosi is 13-2. She won her last fight by a TKO win over Na Liang. She has 9 wins by knockout, 1 win by submission. She's 4-1 in her last 5. She has good clinch striking, good forward pressure. She has pretty good power. I like Carnelosi in this fight. I think her forward, just her pressure on her feet and her striking is going to be a little too much for Nunez. I like Carnelosi here at the minus 164 in the money line. All right. Next fight we have is Brandon Davis against Dana Baggeril. Davis is a plus 152 underdog. Baggeril is a minus 188 favorite. Baggeril, this is a fight at 145. Baggeril is 9-2. Has good striking, good cardio, good power. He has 5 wins by knockout or TKO, 2 wins by submission. He's 4-1 in his last 5. He won his last fight by TKO over Kevin Nadavad. Davis is 14-8. He has 4 wins by knockout, 4 wins by submission. He's going to have a 2-inch reach advantage in this fight. He's on a 4-fight win streak. He has good striking. He's 4-1 in his last 5. He won his last fight by TKO over Josh Huber. He's 2-5 in the UFC. But he's fought some tough fights in the UFC. If I remember right, he had to sit out some because of a ASADA violation. I think he got suspended for a little while, but I like a Batgirl here at minus 188 on the money line. I think his forward pressure, his power, I could see Batgirl knocking him out, but I just think his power and his forward pressure and his cardio are going to be, his fight pace is going to be too much for Davis. All right, next fight is Ludovic Klein against Nate Landwehr. Klein is a minus 340 favorite. Landwehr is a plus 260 underdog. This is a fight at 145. Landwehr is 14-4. He's 3-2 in his last 5. He lost his last fight by TKO to Rosa. He has 8 wins by knockout. He's been knocked out twice. He has decent takedown defense, but he did hold Darren Elkins to being 1-13 on takedown attempts. So I mean, that's pretty impressive. But Klein is 17-3. He has good striking, good head kicks, decent wrestling. He has 8 wins by knockout or TKO, 8 wins by submission. He's 4-1 in his last 5. He lost his last fight by decision versus Trezano. I watched that fight. I thought Klein won the fight. I thought Klein should have had a 10-8 round the first round and then won the third round, but they gave it to Trezano. Klein had 4 takedowns in his last fight. I think Klein's going to be a little too much for Landwehr. I think Klein's going to be able to get him on the ground. I think Landwehr's on it. If this fight stays on their feet, Landwehr he has a better chance. But if he gets on the ground, I think it's going to be trouble. I think Klein's going to knock him out. I think Klein's just a better fighter here, well balanced, with his head kicks and his striking. I think he's going to end up knocking him out. So Klein's 340 on the money line. Let's see if they'll let me. Last night they didn't have none of the prop bets up yet. Let me see if they're up today where I can. Nope. All they have right now on FanDuel is the money line bets. I would take this fight. I like Klein to win by TKO or knockout. I can't look up to see what the odds of that would be yet. As of right now, for some reason, all I'm getting is the money line. But I like Klein by TKO or KO in this fight. All right, next fight is going to be a good one as well. I'm trying to. Well, is it on here? I know the fight got changed some because of not that one. It's Carolina and Eubanks. I don't think that fight's on here for some reason. It was last night, but anyway, next fight's going to be Eubanks against Carolina. It's at 125. Sarge Eubanks is 7-6, has great takedowns. She's big at 125. She has 3 wins by knockout, TKO, 3-2 in her last 5. She won her last fight by TKO over Elise Reed. Carolina is 7-2, 2 wins by knockout and TKO. She won her last fight by split decision. She's going to have a 2-inch reach advantage in this fight. She has good Muay Thai. She has 1 win by submission. I like Eubanks here. I think Eubanks is striking and then striking into her wrestling, and her ground and pound is just going to be too much for Carolina. Only thing that worries me here a little bit is Eubanks' age, but I think Carolina. I think Eubanks is going to be too much for her, even at being 36. All right, next fight on the prelims we have Danny Roberts versus Ramazan Amev. Roberts is plus 220. Amev is minus 280. Roberts is 17-5. He has 8 wins by knockout or TKO, 5 wins by submission. His cardio can be a question. He's good at distance. If he can keep that distance on striking, he's good at striking from distance. Not great at striking from the clinch. He's 6-4 in the UFC. He has won 2 fight night awards. So, I mean, it's usually all or nothing with this dude. He's 3-2 in his last 5. Doesn't have very good takedown defense. Amev is 20-4. He has good wrestling. decent striking, a 2-inch reach advantage. He has 3 wins by knockout or TKO, 7 wins by submission. He's 4-1 in his last 5. He won his last fight by decision. The only thing you have to worry about with the Mev, which with actually both these guys, is cardio can be a question. Sometimes the Mev will control the first 2 rounds with wrestling, and then the third round he's a little tired and he'll try to strike, and he can get himself in trouble sometimes. I like a Mev in this fight, though. I think Amev's probably going to win by submission. I think, or maybe either TKO, KO, or submission. I think he's going to be able to take him down and control this fight. Then our featured bout of the prelims for UFC Fight Night Lad versus Dumont is Andrew Sanchez against Bruno Silva. This is gonna be a fun fight. Should be a real good fight. Both these guys are pretty exciting to watch. Sanchez is a plus 134 underdog. You have Silva at the minus 164 favorite. Sanchez is 13-6. He has good wrestling, good karate. He did lose his last fight by TKO to Muradov. He has 7 wins by knockout or TKO, 2 wins by submission. He's 3-2 in his last 5. His cardio can be a question in the third round. Silva's 20-6. He was out 2 years for a USADA violation. He has 17 wins by knockout or TKO. He does have 5 losses by submission. He has good striking, great pressure on his feet. He's 5-0 his last 5. Won his last fight by TKO over Wellington Turner. His cardio can be a question, though. If Sanchez can use his wrestling and doesn't run out of gas in the third round, he could have a chance. I think Silva's going to end up probably knocking him out. I just think Silva has a little too much power. But the big key in this fight is going to be, can Silva's takedown defense hold up against Sanchez's wrestling? I like Bruno Silva here as a minus 164 favorite over Andrew Sanchez. All right, that is all the UFC prelims for this Saturday for the UFC Fight Night Lad versus Dumont. Don't forget, we will be live with a live watch along and reaction to the UFC Fight Night on Saturday. Prelims start at 4, main card starts at 7. I'll put out the exact time we're going to be live on our social media later this evening. I would say it will probably be live right around 3:30. But all right, let's get ready to jump over to the main card. Got some good fights on this main card. This whole card actually should be pretty good. I know there's not a whole lot of big name people on here, or fighters on here, I should say, but there's a lot of interesting matchups and some good up and coming people fighters. All right, let's get ready for the first fight on the main card Saturday night for UFC Fight Night Lad versus Dumont is Julian Marquez against Jordan Wright. Wright is a plus 198 underdog. Marquez is a minus 250 favorite. This is a fight at 185. Marquez is 31 years old. He's 9-2. He has decent grappling, good cardio. He's 4-1 in his last 5. He won his last fight by submission over Sam Alvey. All 9 of his wins are by finish. He has 6 wins by knockout or TKO and 3 wins by submission. Wright is 30 years old. He's 12-1, 3-1 with one no contest in his last 5. He won his last fight by TKO over Jamie Pickett. He's going to have a 5-inch reach advantage in this fight. He has 7 wins by knockout, 5 wins by submission. He's been knocked out once. Leaves his head out. Not great defense striking. Not great. Doesn't have great striking defense. I like Marquez here. I think, like I said, I'd probably see what you can get like a double chance and stuff for, because minus 250 is a little steeper. But I like Marquez to win this fight over Wright. I think Marquez is striking. I think he'll be able to strike to get to his wrestling, and that's gave Jordan Wright trouble in the past. And I see him having trouble with that again in this fight. Our second fight of the main card, we have Manon Fiorot against Mayra Beno. Beno Silva, sorry. Mayra Beno Silva. Fiorot is 31. This is a fight at 125. She's 7-1. She's has a real technical striking. She has good kicks. Won her last fight by knockout over Ricci. She has good, like I said, she's a great striker. She has 6 wins by knockout. She's 5-0 in her last 5. She has good footwork and combinations. Bruno Silva ain't no slouch herself, though. She's 7-1. She has 1 win by knockout, 5 wins by submission. She has good jiu-jitsu. She's going to have a 1.5 reach advantage in this fight. Her last fight, she won by majority draw versus La Rosa. She lost a point due to a fence grab in that fight. I think Silva's going to need to get this fight to the ground to win. And I think for her to win, she needs to get this fight to the ground. I don't think her striking's going to be able to keep up with Fiorot's striking. I like Fiorot here to win this fight. Okay, let's move on. Next fight, we have Jim Miller. Yes, Jim Miller is still fighting. That's crazy to me, too. Against Eric Gonzalez. That explains where Eric has been these last few days. But anyway, Gonzalez is a plus 180 underdog. Miller is a minus 225 favorite. Miller is 32-16. He's 2-3 in his last 5. He lost his last fight by unanimous decision to Selecki. He has 4 wins by knockout, 18 wins by submission. The question is, Miller is at 38. Does he still have the cardio he used to have to use his wrestling and striking together and not wear out? That's going to be the big question in this fight. Gonzalez is 14-5. He has good striking. He's 4-1 in his last 5. He's going to have a 3-inch reach advantage in this fight. 8 wins by KO or TKO. But he has 2 losses by submission. This is his UFC debut. He rushes forward a lot. He has poor takedown defense and poor wrestling. I think Gonzalez's only chance is if he can keep this fight on his feet. I think Miller is going to be able to take this fight to the ground. I like Miller here at the minus 225. And then in the co-main event of the evening, we have another guy that's been around forever. In Andre Arlovsky. He's fighting Carlos Felipe. Arlovsky's at minus 108 on the money line. Felipe's minus 112 on the money line. They have this fight almost as a pick 'em. Arlovsky's 32-10. This is a heavyweight fight, by the way. He's has 17 wins by knockout. He has good cardio. He won his last fight by decision. Arlovsky's going to have a 2-inch reach advantage in this fight. He has 3 wins by submission. 3-2 in his last 5. Arlovsky has been knocked out 11 times in his career. Felipe is 11-1. 6 wins by knockout. Good striking, good cardio, but poor grappling and takedown defense. 4-1 in the last 5. One last fight by split decision over Jake Collier. Has good forward pressure on his feet. I think it's going to be a close fight. I could see Arlovsky pulling this fight out, but I'm just not sure what does Arlovsky have left at 42 years old. I could see him winning. I could see him winning this fight, but I also see Felipe just being too much for him and maybe even knocking him out. But if Arlovsky can get this fight to the ground, it could change a lot. But I like Felipe here at minus 112 on the money line. And then in the main event of the evening, you have Aspen Ladd against Norma Dumont. Holly Holm had to back out, so Ladd is stepping in. Ladd is 9-1, has good wrestling, good ground and pound. She has 6 wins by knockout, 1 win by submission. She's 4-1 in her last 5. She won her last fight by TKO over Kunsakaya. But she fought, that was 2 weeks ago, So this is going to be her second weight cut in just a couple weeks. That scares me a little bit. Is this too quick of a turnaround in only 2 weeks? How does that affect her body? We will see. Dumont has 6-1. She's a good striker. 2 wins by submission, 4-1 in her last 5. She won her last fight by split decision over Felicia Spencer. She has good striking. Her takedown defense is questionable. That's where I think, even with her being a little bit bigger fighter, I think that's going to be trouble for her against Ladd, is her takedown defense. Ladd has great ground and pound. If she gets you down, she has great ground and pound. There's a good chance that Ladd can win this fight by finish. Only thing that scares me off Ladd just a tad is, like I said, she fought 2 weeks ago. Had a rough weight cut for that. Now making another rough weight cut in just a couple weeks. That can be that's hard on your body. But I like Ladd here at the minus 144 on the money line over Norma Dumont in the main event. All right, that's all the fights on this week's card, or this weekend's card for UFC Fight Night, Ladd versus Dumont. Don't forget, we will be live Saturday with a live watch along and reaction to UFC Fight Night, Ladd versus Dumont. We'll be live probably right around 3:30. I'll put more information on our social media, up on our social media about that here later today. There's also a Bellator on Saturday night. Bellator 268. Nemikov, the champion, puts his title on the line against Anglicus. You also have Ryan Bader on that card. It's actually should be a real good card. Prelims start at 7 for that. Main card starts at 10. We will also be live with a live watch along for that. I'll have a preview and predictions for the Bellator fights. We will have that we'll go over that tomorrow on Easy Money, a sports betting show.